Welcome to your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski with the latest local news, including updates on local power restoration efforts, a man arrested for a 2010 murder in Norwalk, and much more. Frank Nito has your forecast and later on a Nutmeg Sports update, and Donna Lang will join us later to take a look back on this day in history. But first, the region is still dealing with some major power outages this morning. Now in Monroe, about 1,000 homes or 13% of the town remains in the dark today. First Selectman Ken Kellogg said this morning that Eversource has 16 crews dedicated to Monroe, and the senior center is open as a warming center should anyone need it. Now in New Canaan, 6 areas of town were blocked off with no access in or out as of this morning at 8 a.m. Now crews will be working in the following priority areas today in New Canaan. Those include Charter Oak Drive, Huckleberry Hill Road, Bittersweet Lane, Hickory Drive, Shadow Lane, and Knollwood Lane. Now roughly 16% of New Canaan is without power. Now Eversource reports that crews have been working non-stop since the storm, and they say they will have a statewide estimated restoration time this afternoon, followed by town times by the end of the day. Now United Illuminating, which serves much of the eastern part of Fairfield County, said that the nor'easters caused well over 30,000 outages. They say UI reduced that number last night to 5,900, and that's still going down. Now UI also said line workers are on 16-hour shifts and that the company employs a system of rotating shifts to ensure that restoration work is continuous for customers, while at the same time keeping safety as a main priority for their employees. Now for more on what's happening in your town, visit your local HAN Network news site. And Shelton police have arrested a man they say may have been involved in several commercial burglaries in the area. Now on March 6th, the Shelton Police Department responded to Bonner Lawn and Forest, located on Bridgeport Avenue, for a report of a nighttime burglary. Officers discovered that someone broke into the store and stole several pieces of lawn care equipment. Well, upon watching video surveillance, a red Chevrolet pickup truck can be seen pulling in front of the store, and a male gets out and then burglarizes the store. Well, this same red Chevrolet pickup truck has been involved in several commercial burglaries in Shelton from late 2017 through this month. Well, on March 8th, yesterday, a Chevrolet pickup truck broke down on Huntington Street. Detectives arrived on scene and ascertained that this was the same truck involved in that rash of burglaries. The driver of the truck was identified as 43-year-old Michael Macy of Shelton, and he was identified as that suspect in Shelton and surrounding towns' commercial burglaries. Now, Macy was wearing a distinct hooded jacket that was also seen on surveillance videos of those past burglaries. Well, on the scene, it was discovered that Macy's truck was also unregistered and uninsured. Now, Macy was initially arrested on motor vehicle charges, and Shelton police later obtained a warrant charging him with burglary and larceny. They say additional arrests are expected in the near future. And the Connecticut Post reports that fire officials rescued a person trapped in a trash chute on Thursday morning. Bridgeport Fire responded to a call around 6:30 a.m. on Highland Avenue, and an occupant told the first responders that the person was stuck in the garbage chute between the 3rd and 4th floors, according to a statement from city officials. Now, the team conducted a confined space rescue and found that the person was at the bottom of the chute and on top of the compactor. Now, they worked on taking apart that compactor in the basement to break into the wall on the first floor. Now, the process to remove that person from the chute took about 50 minutes, and they were taken to the hospital conscious and alert. The extent of the injuries are unknown. Bridgeport Police and Bridgeport Housing are investigating that incident. And Norwalk police have arrested a Bridgeport man for a 2010 murder. 33-year-old David McBride of Stillman Street in Bridgeport has been charged with murder. Now, this dates back to February 3rd, 2010. Around 8:50 in the morning, Norwalk Police Patrol Division responded to Nathaniel Elley School for a report of a man down. Officers found a deceased male victim who had been shot 3 times, and that victim was later identified as Norwalk resident Carl Savage. Well, on March 8th, Norwalk detectives arrested McBride and charged him with murder for the slaying of Carl Savage. Detective Daniel Serio, who is assigned to the Special Investigation Squad of the Detective Bureau, investigated that case, and police said Detective Serio is commended for his diligent work in continuing that investigation and obtaining probable cause for McBride's arrest. Now, McBride's bond was set at $500,000. And in other news, Hartford police are investigating a comment referencing an explosive that was made in response to a Facebook post about an upcoming St. Patrick's Day parade. The Hartford Courant reports that WTIC-TV posted on Facebook asking users if they plan to go to the Hartford parade. Well, one user commented Thursday, quote, "I got my truck loaded with C4, which is a plastic explosive." Now, Hartford Police and Deputy Chief Brian Foley received several messages from alarmed Facebook users in regards to that comment. Foley said Thursday analysts are working the case and there are several indications the threat came from a counterfeit or fake account. He says police will provide more answers today. Now, that comment has since been removed from that post. And in other news, it is time to spring ahead and gain an hour of light in the evening. Daylight savings time begins at 2 a.m. this Sunday, March 11th. Now, when setting clocks ahead 1 hour before going to bed on Saturday, March 10th, remember to also change your smoke alarm and carbon monoxide detector batteries. According to fire officials, it's a habit that's both simple and life-saving, yet so many people ignore their smoke and CO detectors. Officials said they urge everyone to not only change their batteries when they change their clocks, but also set a reminder to test their alarms once every month. Now, according to the National Fire Protection Association, roughly 2/3 of home fire deaths occur in homes with no smoke alarms and in homes with working fire alarms that simply fail to operate, usually because of batteries that are missing, disconnected, or dead. All right, well, taking a turn now, let's throw it over to Frank Granito for a look at your forecast. Frank.
All right, thank you, Kate. We're looking at another partly cloudy day around Fairfield County. Could see some patches of sunshine taking over in the late afternoon. Temperatures right around 40 degrees today. Wind gusts up around 10 to 15 miles per hour, so it'll be a little chilly out there. Going to get cooler overnight as well with mostly clear skies. And again, much like last night, that snow going to be melting. We could see some patches of black ice developing heading into Saturday, which should be mostly sunny throughout the day. Temperatures right around 40 to 45 degrees again. Wind gusts around 10 to 15. We're looking at a lot of similar conditions these next few days. Clear skies tomorrow night with a low of 28, and then on Sunday, intervals of sun and clouds. You guessed it, temperatures right around 45 degrees, and it'll fall down to 30 with clear skies overnight. Could be a little more precipitation coming our way at the start of next week, but we'll have that for you Monday morning. For now, we go back over to Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. And we are going to step out for a break. Come back, and Donald Lang will take a look back on this day in history. Frank has your Nutmeg Sports Update, and we have more local news after this.
Get a fresh start to the new year by shaking up your meal routine. Walter Stewart's Market is your local source for a delicious selection of fresh and convenient salad shakers, like Southwest salad with chicken, Cobb with organic chicken, Power Vegan with fruit and quinoa, Greek salad with tabbouleh, and grilled shrimp with hominy. Grab one from our salad case or order from our deli today. Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street, New Canaan, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
Want a new experience in car buying? No aggravation, no confrontation, just answers to all your questions. SCAP Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Car buying the way you want it to be. With one of the largest selections of new 2- and 4-door Jeep Wranglers available, we are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Family owned and operated for over 50 years. Call, click, or stop in today.
Save thousands right now at the Spring Sales Event and Ram Truck Month. Ends March 31st.
At Galt, we always put you first. As your full-service home heating partner, we provide expert delivery, installation, and maintenance for all your heating needs with knowledgeable, friendly professionals that give you peace of mind 24/7. Galt Family Companies, you first since 1863.
Had a sports injury or slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Orthopedics Walk-In Urgent Care gives you direct access to orthopedic specialists fast without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Orthopedics Walk-In Urgent Care can help. Open 7 days a week now at 3 locations. The iPark Building at 761 Main Avenue, Norwalk, 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien, or in the Westport Medical Center at 323 Riverside Avenue, Westport. Go to myorthoct.com, like them on Facebook.
Welcome back to this March 9th edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, and it's time to throw it over to Donald Lang for a look back on this day in history. Don.
Well, Kate, a female icon generates controversy both ways. But we're going to go back first to 1765. Judges in Paris exonerate Jean Calas of murdering his son. Now, Calas had been tortured and executed 3 years earlier. Despite his protestations of his innocence, prosecutors believed he had murdered his son because his son planned to convert to Catholicism, though they later admitted it was more likely his son actually committed suicide. The so-called Calas affair would lead to greater protection of religious freedom in France. 1959, the Barbie doll makes its debut at the American International Toy Fair. Now, it was hailed as a symbol of women's independence and also criticized as objectifying women for her unlikely measurements. Barbie, over the years, has had at least 86 careers, including astronaut, baseball player, Canadian Mountie, and U.S. Marine. Those careers have allowed her to build her dream house and collect dozens of cars, mostly Corvettes and Jeeps, all of them convertibles. To 1982, the Chrononauts host an event in Baltimore asking time travelers from the future to meet and demonstrate science methods of time travel. Now, the Chrononauts that attended danced and drank the night away, then a bunch of them got arrested for public nudity. The experiment failed. No time travelers showed up. Sounds like they missed a heck of a party. But people like Stephen Hawking believe time travel is possible, so why haven't we met any time travelers? Well, it seems like a silly question, but scientists take it seriously. Hawking himself attempted a similar unsuccessful experiment, but did not publicize it in advance, so future time travelers might simply have just not known about it. Finally, now we go to 1862, Virginia, for this.
But the next day, March 9, 1862, changed the history of naval warfare. When the Virginia sailed into Hampton Roads on the morning of March 9th, it confronted a so-called cheese box on a raft, the Monitor, under the command of Lieutenant John Worden. For 3.5 hours, the two ironclads fired on one another at close range. Shells bounced harmlessly off the armor plating of both ships.
It was a dramatization of the Battle of Hampton Roads in Virginia. USS Monitor and CSS Virginia fight to a draw, though you could argue it was a victory for the Confederates since the battle allowed General McClellan's disastrous Peninsular Campaign to continue. The battle immediately caused every world navy to cease building wooden warships, and the Monitor's layout, small numbers of very heavy guns in a rotating turret, would become the new standard for warships for the next century. That is your look back in history for today, March 9th, and I'm Donald Day.
All right, thanks so much, Don. Well, in other local news, a Massachusetts man has been arrested in connection to a fatal crash that happened last year in Groton. Connecticut State Police say that on March 30th, 2017, Valerie Labossiere of Medford, Mass. was trying to elude state police as he was driving a Chevy Silverado stolen out of Vermont. Well, around 10:15 p.m., he ran a red light at a Groton intersection, slamming into another car. Now, following that crash, Labossiere was transported to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The operator of the Eclipse that his car hit was also transported, but with non-life-threatening injuries. However, a passenger in that Eclipse was transported to the hospital via LifeStar with life-threatening injuries, and that passenger later died as a result of those injuries. Now, Labossiere was arrested on charges related to the pursuit and the stolen car. Just this month, on March 6th, Labossiere was arrested by warrant at the New London Superior Court by troopers on charges related to the fatal motor vehicle crash. Now, Labossiere was charged with first-degree manslaughter, second-degree manslaughter, as well as assault in the second degree, reckless endangerment as well. And in other news, a Freedom of Information complaint was filed against the Weston Board of Education alleging that a school board member posted information via social media through a member of the public in order to circumvent and bypass Freedom of Information regulations. Well, that complaint was filed by Bob Ferguson of Weston with the state's Freedom of Information Commission on Friday, March 2nd. In addition to claiming a violation of FOI regulations, Ferguson claimed the action was unethical and deliberately undetermined the public's trust. Now, in the complaint, Ferguson explained that on February 23rd, he sent an email to Weston School Superintendent William McCursey and Louis Bray, the Director of Human Resources, with concerns about the upcoming school walkout. Now, he said the superintendent shared that email with the school board. Ferguson said he hoped the concerns expressed in his email would be brought up at a school board meeting, but instead, 3 days later, that email was published in its entirety, including his name on a number of social media pages. Now, Ferguson said he believes a school member gave his email to a member of the public to then post on Facebook. He said it appears a school board member was protecting his or her identity by having the email published by a third party on social media. There's so much more on that story at aspetuck.news. And in other news, with just 1 week until Shelton's Inland Wetlands Commission holds its first public hearing to discuss the town center at Shelter Ridge development, Save Our Shelton is preparing its talking points to make to the commissioners. Now, the community group's Monday night meeting in the Huntington Branch Library was attended by 2 people looking to learn how it has managed to put up such a fight against Shelter Ridge developers. A group of innovators and artists referred to as Today's Industrial Living Landscape, or TILL, was represented by Olivia Greenspan and Jane Philbrick at SOS's Monday meeting, where they explained their experience going against developers pushing big projects that would have an impact on the community. Well, Philbrick said her work began when she received a state grant back in 2013 to develop a plan for a wire mill property in Reading, whose owners owed $3 million worth of taxes to the town and another $19 million to a taxing district. Well, that town foreclosed on that brownfield site in 2015. Philbrick explained that she and her group created a model of remediating brownfield sites that consists of using state and federal money to decontaminate the property with a method called phytoremediation, where plants are used to remove the lead, zinc, and other chemicals that have drained into the soil. Well, Philbrick said their model also requires private developers to build commercial space and intergenerational housing in order to attract a younger demographic that would start families in the area. There's much more on that story at SheltonHerald.com. And Weston residents will be voting for or against the proposed dog park on Davis Hill Road this Saturday. Polls for that referendum will open at the Weston Town Hall meeting room from noon until 8 p.m. Now, to vote, one must be a qualified voter, and a qualified voter is either a Weston resident who is registered to vote in town or a non-Weston resident who owns at least $1,000 worth of property in town. You also, of course, have to be a United States citizen and at least 18 years old. Now, on the day of the referendum, the law prohibits solicitation or advertisement on behalf of or in opposition to any ballot question within a restricted area beginning 75 feet from the outside entrance used as a polling place. Now, absentee ballots must be returned to the town clerk today. That's Friday, March 9th at 4:30 p.m. More on that story at aspatuck.news. But all right, let's throw it back over to Frank Granito now for your Nutmeg Sports Update. Frank.
All right, thank you, Kate. A lot of games still being rescheduled after the big storm on Wednesday. One game regarding an FCX team was played yesterday, though, and a huge upset and big win for the Darien Blue Wave as the number 13 seed takes down number 4, Notre Dame of West Haven, 3-2 in overtime in the first round of the Division I state tournament. Connor McCarthy getting the game-winning goal for the Blue Wave that will push them on to the second round. They now await the winner of Ridgefield and the Fairfield Co-op, which will be played today. Also scoring was Will Culleton and James Gregory. Will Dixon had 2 assists, so did Bennett McDermott, Max Sharp, and Finn Batson, each with an assist as well. Player of the game, though, how about Henry Feifel? 39 saves for the junior netminder. As we mentioned, Ridgefield and Fairfield is going to be played today in boys hockey. Both schools have gotten the approval from their districts. New Canaan will take on Hamden in boys hockey as well at 4 o'clock. And another game that has been rescheduled again in basketball. We're just learning Trinity Catholic and Danbury will not be played today. That game is going to be 2 o'clock tomorrow now from Danbury High School. Good luck to all the competing FCX teams, and we'll get you caught up Monday on all the state tournament action from this weekend. For now, though, we're going to send it back over to Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. And we're going to step out for a break, come back and recap some of the top stories we're following today after this.
Voted Best Gourmet to Go in Fairfield County, Palmer's extensive menu offers everything you'll need to make your next event easy and delicious. Whether you're hosting a small get-together or planning a large celebration, they've got you covered breakfast through dessert. Order online at palmersdarien.com or call 203-655-2077.
Yeah, Dad.
Kyle, I need you to update the financial statements.
I took care of that yesterday, Dad.
Mac, I need you to get those deals approved.
They're all done, Mr. Miller.
Jeff, I need you to order lunch for the meeting. They can't do a thing without me.
Right now, lease a 2017 Sentra S for only $97 a month.
I'm never going to retire.
UK Gourmet is the largest specialty grocer in the area, featuring food from England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. Over 80 teas to choose from and a brilliant assortment of biscuits to go with them. Over 70 cheeses from grass-fed cows, which makes a smashing difference in taste. The creamiest chocolate you'll ever taste using no artificial colors or preservatives. So say hooray for UK Gourmet, 78 Stony Hill Road in Bethel, or visit ukgourmet.us.
Welcome back to this Friday edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, recapping some of the top stories we're following today. Now, the region is still dealing with some major power outages this morning. In Monroe, approximately 1,000 homes, or 13% of the town, remains in the dark today. Now, First Selectman Ken Kellogg said Eversource has 16 crews dedicated to Monroe, and the Senior Center is open as a warming center currently. Now, in New Canaan, 6 areas of town were blocked off with no access in or out at around 8 a.m. this morning. Now, crews will be working in the following priority areas today in New Canaan: Charter Oak Drive, Huckleberry Hill Road, Bittersweet Lane, Hickory Drive, Shadow Lane, and Knollwood Lane. Now, roughly 16% of the town without power there. Now, Eversource reports that crews have been working non-stop since the storm, and they say that they'll have a statewide estimated restoration time this afternoon, followed by town times by the end of the day today. Now, United Illuminating, which serves much of the eastern part of Fairfield County, said that the nor'easters in total caused 30,000 power outages, and UI reduced that number to 5,900 last night, and it's still going down. They say their line workers have been on 16-hour shifts, and they also said that the company has been employing a system of rotating shifts to ensure restoration work is continuous for customers, while at the same time keeping safety a main priority for their employees and their customers as well. Now, for more on what's happening in your town right now, visit your local HAN Network news site. And Shelton police arrested a man they say may have been involved in several commercial burglaries in the area. On March 6th, Shelton police responded to Bonner Lawn and Forest, located on Bridgeport Avenue, for a report of a nighttime burglary. At the time, officers discovered someone broke into the store and stole several pieces of lawn care equipment. Well, upon watching video surveillance, a red Chevrolet pickup truck can be seen pulling in front of the store, and a male gets out and then burglarizes the store. Well, that same red Chevy pickup truck has been involved in several commercial burglaries in Shelton from late 2017 through this month. Well, on March 8th, a red Chevy pickup truck broke down on Huntington Street. Detectives arrived on scene and ascertained that this was the same truck involved in that rash of commercial burglaries. Now, the driver of the truck has been identified as 43-year-old Michael Macy of Shelton, and he was identified as the suspect in Shelton and surrounding towns' commercial burglaries. Macy was wearing a distinct hooded jacket that was seen on surveillance videos of past open burglaries. While on scene, it was discovered that Macy's truck was also unregistered and uninsured. Now, Macy was arrested at the time on motor vehicle charges, and police later obtained a warrant charging him with burglary and larceny. They say additional arrests are expected in the near future. And the Connecticut Post reports that fire officials rescued a person trapped in a trash chute Thursday morning. Bridgeport Fire responded to that call around 6:30 a.m. on Highland Avenue, and an occupant told the first responders that the person was stuck in the garbage chute between the 3rd and the 4th floors. Now, the team conducted a confined space rescue, and they found that that person was at the bottom of the chute and on top of the compactor. Now, they worked on taking apart the compactor in the basement to break into that wall on the 1st floor. The process to remove the person from the chute took about 50 minutes, and they were taken to the hospital conscious and alert. The extent of their injuries are unknown. Bridgeport Police and the Bridgeport Housing are investigating that incident. And in other news, Norwalk police have arrested a Bridgeport man for a 2010 murder. 33-year-old David McBride of Stillman Street in Bridgeport has been charged with murder. Now, this dates back to February 3rd, 2010. Around 8:50 in the morning, Norwalk police responded to Nathaniel Elley School for a report of a man down. Officers found a deceased male victim there who had been shot 3 times, and that victim was later identified as Norwalk resident Carl Savage. Well, on March 8th, 2018, Norwalk detectives arrested McBride and charged him with murder for the slaying of Carl Savage. Detective Daniel Serio, who is assigned to the Special Investigation Squad of the Detective Bureau, investigated that case. And Norwalk police say Detective Serio is commended for his diligent work in continuing that investigation and obtaining probable cause for McBride's arrest. Now, McBride's bond was set at $500,000. And Hartford police are investigating a comment referencing an explosive that was made in response to a Facebook post about an upcoming St. Patrick's Day parade. Now, the Hartford Courant reports that WTIC TV posted on Facebook asking users if they plan to go to the Hartford parade. Well, one user commented Thursday, "I got my truck loaded with C4, which is a plastic explosive." Now, Hartford police and Deputy Chief Brian Foley received several messages from alarmed Facebook users in regards to that comment. Now, Thursday, analysts are working on the case, they said, and there are several indications that the threat came from a counterfeit or a fake account. Now, officials say police will provide more answers later today. That comment has since been removed from that post. All right, let's throw it back to Frank Granito now for one final look at your forecast. Frank.
All right, thanks again, Kate. And we're looking at temperatures in the mid-40s today. Mostly cloudy skies. Could see some sunshine later on. It'll be chilly with wind gusts around 10 to 15 miles per hour. And temperatures continue to fall overnight down to around 28 degrees. Be careful. There could be some black ice developing as this snow continues to melt from earlier in the week. We're going to see a lot of the same the next 2 days. Mixes of sun and clouds throughout the afternoon. Temperatures between 40 to 45 degrees and gusts of wind around 10 to 15 miles per hour. It'll be cooler overnight, a low of 28 tomorrow, a low of 25 on Saturday. And that should take us through the weekend. And of course, as we mentioned before, we could see some precipitation coming along again next week, but we'll get to that when we get there. Let's enjoy this weekend. And for now, send it over to Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. And we are going to wrap things up here. We'll see you Monday on your coffee break at 11 with the latest local news and more. Have a great weekend.